Hello and welcome to Cup of Tea Reviews. My name is Tim and I'm joined as always by Michael.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me.
Tim, we watch movies to be entertained, but so many of them are duds.
We watch the movies that can go either way, good or bad, and we let you know if they're worth your while.
We waste our time so that you don't have to.
This week we are watching The Three Amigos. It is a 1986 comedy western starring Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and Martin Short. Michael, please give us your hot take.
Tim, this movie was not my cup of tea, but it's like a 49%. There was a lot of things that worked here for me, but at the end of the day, as I get further and further away from this movie, I just don't find it to be that memorable, and for me, that's an issue. What about you?
I really enjoyed it. I think this movie has a very strange, wacky sense of humor, but what I really enjoyed were the satirical touches where they're making fun of Western movies and the conventions of the Western genre. That really spoke to me.
So Tim, what's it about?
When three silent movie stars are confused for real gunslingers, a desperate town in Mexico hires them to fight off a band of murderous bandits. Michael, where do you want to start with this one?
Let's start with what we liked, Tim, because there's quite a bit. I mean, it's a funny movie. Again, there are some scenes in this that are iconic, right? Like the Three Amigos salute and the singing bush, like the invisible swordsman. These are all things that this movie is known for. And again, it's very quirky, it's very wacky. It has a very unique sense of humor, and I really like that about this.
I really enjoyed the movie's sense of humor too. I love how they're making fun of the tropes of the Western genre. The classic scene where they are sitting around a campfire and they start singing a song and the animals join in. It's very silly. Oh, and they're in front of the most obvious like matte painting backdrop of a beautiful desert scene. It's ridiculous. It's very silly. I really enjoyed that stuff. I find the movie is working best when it is making fun of the conventions of the genre, and it does that a lot, and I really appreciated that. I also want to call out the musical number, My Little Buttercup, which is very silly. I just think when this movie gets silly, it really works for me.
Yeah, and it's working because of the comedic performances of the leads. I mean, Steve Martin, Martin Short, Chevy Chase, like these guys are legends in comedy and for a reason. I think especially for me, Steve Martin and Martin Short, I thought did a really great job. They both deliver on the scenes that they're given. They do an excellent job just milking every bit of comedy out of the script. I will say for me, Chevy Chase comes off sometimes in a very Chevy Chase way, being a little bit above it all or aloof to the picture. And because there's actually a strong, heartfelt story in this, you know, really driven by Steve Martin, who is eager to save this village and is passionate about it. When Chevy Chase comes off as aloof, there are times that he feels out of place in the picture for me, where it's like, why are you in this movie if you don't want to be doing these things?
He's got such a strange comedic sensibility because he is so sardonic and sarcastic, and so he's very commenting on the things around him, but then he's also playing a complete idiot, and he's also playing somebody who is very bumbling and very sort of, he's got like a pratfall quality to him, and it does make for a weird tension in his performance when he is so bumbling and so dumb and so fumbling with things, but then at the same time he's sort of aloof and cool and above it all. Like it does make for a weird juxtaposition. Michael, let's switch to the negative then. I'm going to jump in really quick. The tonal mix of this movie is strange. It goes from wacky scenes of guys singing in a bar and invisible swordsmen with singing bushes to scenes of very realistic violence from a really rough and tumble group of bandits. And that tonal dissonance doesn't always play, and I think that's definitely a moment where the movie doesn't work as well for me.
I agree with you, and I think that connects back to the Chevy Chase piece, too, of why he sometimes feels out of place. For me, my number one challenge was the film just isn't very memorable for me. There are specific scenes that are memorable, but as we are recording this podcast, even just a few months after watching the film, I feel very distant from this. Like, I remember a couple of the scenes pretty well, but it just really hasn't stuck with me. I just haven't really found that many things to hang my hat on here. So that, for me, I struggled with a little bit.
Yeah. In spite of those negatives, Michael, when would you recommend the film, and would you recommend the film?
Absolutely, I'd recommend this. I think this is a cultural touchstone, and if you haven't seen it, you should see it once so that you make sure that you can get all the references. And in particular, as you said, it's a lot of the silly things. Like, when things get really, really goofy, that's when this movie is firing on all cylinders, and people remember that about this. So I'd recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it. I'll say personally, now having seen this again, the second time I've watched it, I don't think I need to watch it a third time.
I would definitely recommend it. I think it's a very funny movie. It's very silly. And I think that if you do give it a chance, you're going to have a good time with it. I do think that it's not a perfect film, but I definitely recommend it. It's a fun time. Thank you all for watching.
Join us next time on Cup of Tea Reviews.